Hello. Today in this video I'm going to talk about another job profile. So this is a job profile video. This is a video on algorithmic trading risk manager, and this is a job opening in India. So if you're looking for a quant profile in India, this video will be quite useful for you. So if you're a fresher or an experienced guy, you will find this video useful. So stay tuned. So this is a job profile at Revolut. Revolut is a fintech company based out of London. It's headquartered in London, but it has operation in various parts of the world, including many European countries, but also in the US. And if I'm not wrong, they're the biggest fintech company based out of Europe, entire Europe. And recently, I think they have got the banking license in the UK, and that's probably the reason why they are venturing into all kinds of banking activities, including trading. And they're expanding quite a lot in India. They have their own operation in India, but also they're hiring quite a lot of people in India for a variety of roles. I know a few people who work there in modeling, in compliance, and in KYC, in such areas. But it's also a good thing that even for more high skilled jobs such as algorithm trading, they are relying on resources from India. So that's a quite welcome move in my view, and it's actually a good thing because other fintechs, global fintechs, will also come to India if one of the biggest fintech is there in India, right? So that will have a spillover effect, right? So this is not a role for freshers, by the way. But let me tell you that even if the job role is not for freshers and it's for mid-level people, and you are a fresh guy, you should still apply. Okay, the reason I'm saying this is very important is because in quant finance you will see that there is always a gap of people skilled in that particular area. So not many people would have this kind of experience, especially in India. So even if you don't have any experience, just apply. You may not get a call, but they might call you for an interview if they want to hire some fresh guys, right? They might keep your resume for any future openings. So that's something to keep in mind. So do apply even if the role is not for fresh people, right? Obviously, your chances of being called for interview will be very low, simply because it's they want an experienced guy, not a inexperienced guy. But I doubt if they will have access to too many experienced people in this particular area, right? Also, a lot of experienced guys don't want to work with fintechs. It's still some sort of a startup, right? A lot of the experienced guys, they prefer working at big banks where stability is better, right? But someone starting out like you, for example, fresh out of university, or you're still in your mid-20s, right? So you can take risk. You can work at a fintech, at a startup, right? Risk will be somewhat higher, but your learning will be much higher than the ones working at high street banks. All right, so let's get into the details of how the role looks like. So as I've said, it's a fintech. It's not long ago it got a banking license, but I think they still don't have physical banks in the UK. It's more of an online bank. It's more like Paytm or Phone Pay that you, or Create that you have in India, right? Similar kind of a company, but I think Revolut is quite good at expanding into other areas of business, thanks to less regulation in the financial service space in the UK. Whereas in India, I think a lot of the fintechs have been struggling because of the stringent regulations set out by the Reserve Bank of India. All right, so it's a role. It's a risk management role. That means it's a second line risk management role. You probably not going to be writing or devising algorithms for algo trading, but you will be playing a very crucial role there. Okay, and yeah, it's a remote role. That means you will be supporting activities in their offices in London or probably elsewhere in Europe. Yeah, and it's in the second in the risk team, which is the second line of defense in the language of risk management. I'm going to talk about that bit later, maybe. What is the first line of defense, for second line of defense, third line of defense? I mean, to put it very crudely, the people who work in front office, people who face the customer or the take decision, like traders and credit officers, they are the ones who actually work in the first line of business. Some modeling people also work in first line of business. But if you are in the more risk team, right, you are challenging the decision taken by the people in front office, then that role is considered in the second line of defense. And then you have third line also, like auditing, reviewing your work. All right, so that's in that kind of team. And what it mentioned is that you will be playing a very important role in any new business initiative, whether it's app development or whether it's treasury or finance to customer support and so on and so forth. Very interesting actually that in fintechs you will be involved in all kinds of activities, right? You will learn much more in these small firms compared to that in the big ones. In big firms like in JP Morgan, Citibank, HSBC, that kind of firms, you will only be assigned one kind of work. You will be specializing in that one particular work, and you'll be stuck there for, let's say, a couple of years. Wherein in fintechs, you will be working end to end. You will be working in different areas at the same time, and so the learning is actually better, right? And you'll also be involved in app development and tech space. So if you're someone who loves technology as well as finance, this is a wonderful opportunity, right? And one of the best thing about this role is that you can become more of a product guy later on and become a chief risk officer, chief compliance officer, chief product officer later on, even chief technical officer, tech officer in the later time, right? So if you're someone coming from heavy technical background, in engineering or computer science, and you have strong coding background, and you have good knowledge of finance or interest in finance, you have done some trading yourself, you have done some reading yourself on field of on finance, and this role you might find very interesting, right? So how's the role like? Okay, the model risk management team focuses on variety of things, but mostly on algorithmic trading risk involved in FX, crypto, and commodities. So they are into three asset classes: the foreign exchange, the cryptocurrencies, okay, and the commodities. Okay, different type of commodities. Okay, and so they are into algo trading, as in. So you won't be managing risk on behalf of the retail clients, the ones who are doing algorithming on the app, right? They will have their own fund. If I'm not wrong, they will have their own fund and they will be doing the trading, much like the banks which are doing. So they will also be doing their own trading, and you will be working as a risk manager. So any trading decision will have to be approved by the risk management team, and you will be playing a part in that. So should you have good knowledge of trading, algo trading? Yes, you must have the knowledge, simply because unless you have the knowledge, you can't challenge people, right? So even though you do not take the decisions yourself, you're not going to be the front guy, but you will still be needed to have strong knowledge of algo trading. All right. Okay, it's still a bit confusing as though whether they will have their own fund house, or will you be working more on the guy, the retail people doing all kinds of trading. So it's still a bit unclear, but maybe it's maybe both, or maybe just one of that. But never mind. I think the work is still quite interesting, right? Despite regardless of whether it's in the retail side or having their own, working with their own fund. All right. So what are they looking for? They're looking for someone who can do advanced analytics. So even though it's a risk role, you are supposed to be a highly technical guy, highly quantitative guy. I know some people, actually one of my college junior actually works at Revolut in London. As what I know from him is that in Revolut, they expect someone to be really good on technical matters. Even their non-technical people actually know how to code. So coding is a must thing, even in these risk roles, right? Um, so you must have strong knowledge in algorithmic strategies and market risk analysis, and compliance related to trading. So compliance, not on Indian market but also in global markets, in markets in Europe, UK, and probably US. Right. So as I've said, right, you need to have strong coding skills, have to have good knowledge of algorithm strategy. If I've read some books, that's good. If you are doing trading yourself, just write about that on your CV. And you also need to have good knowledge of market risk analysis, calculation of value at risk, simple calculation, maybe even Excel, right, will do. How to stress that, how to validate such a model, what are the different compliance requirements for such activities, right, in different jurisdiction, be it in the UK or in Switzerland or in European Union, in the US, or in Middle East, or in different Asian countries. But I think the activities are predominantly in the UK, EU, and the US, and not beyond that. All right. So what are they looking for? So someone who has understanding of some of these market regulations, such as the MiFID and MiFIR. These are regulations in the European Union on market risk. And you have the UKPRA, the prudential regulation, which is in place in the UK for different financial activities, including trading activities, and the FCA guidelines. I think FCA guidelines are also the regulations or compliance guidelines in the UK, and other equivalent regulations from the US, and so on and so forth. Right, identifying and addressing inherent risk in algorithmic trading and safeguarding investors and customers. So it's a role where you need to have a thick skin, right? You must have the guts to challenge the front office people. Sometimes you will have a fight with them, right? They probably won't like you being challenging them, but that's your role, right? You need to do that. You shouldn't be scared to challenge other people's decisions, right? Somebody who has to be strict and very confident. So you need to have strong technical expertise. That's also a must thing. Without having a strong technical expertise, you won't be able to analyze whether a given algorithm trading has insane amount of risk or not, and how much risk, right? How to quantify that risk, right? So all that is important. All right, enhancing and clarifying on algorithm trading processes from development to deployment and monitoring. So we'll be doing quite a bit of technical work as well, whether it's writing code yourself or just helping the developers writing code, whether it's deploy just making sure that the strategy perform better. But at the same time, you also have to work in the implementation side. Contrast to the big banks, where for implementation you will have a separate team. You will have the quant developers, the software developers who work on the quant side. They are the one who will be implementing the models, all the algorithms. Whereas in fintechs, that you don't have that luxury. You'll have to do everything yourself. It's a good thing, right? At a young man, I think you learn much more if you work in such an environment, right? You'll be having knowledge of everything from starting from scratch, developing your algorithm, all the way to deployment and monitoring, etc. All right. I mean, the usual stuff in trading, risk limits, and every decision taken in the banking world, whether it's on the trading side or on the credit side, you have a risk appetite, and there is something called risk appetite framework that is used for different activities within banks, both on the trading side as well as on the lending side. Okay, and you will be either writing the risk appetite framework, or you'll also be somebody who will be ensuring that there is enough control in place and everyone is following those guidelines mentioned in the framework. And if not, then you'll have to work, you'll have to raise findings and ask people to take ownership of that. So it's a typical risk management role. If I've ever worked in risk management, you probably will know that you have to do a lot of this more administrative work, not the most interesting kind of work, but then really important work, right? But beside your these admin work, you'll also have to do a lot of technical work. All right. And then you'll also have to work on the compliance side. This is also a unique thing in fintechs, that you have risk and compliance people working on both. So in many places you don't have separate compliance team to look after compliance requirements. The risk people also work on compliance, or the compliance people also work on risk, which is not the case in most big banks. In most big banks, you have separation between risk and compliance. All right, so what is needed? They want somebody who has experience of working in the regulatory and especially in trading areas in the EU or UK or in the US. As I've said, they are more into those markets. They're probably not that much in this particular area in Asia. They expect 6 years of experience in risk management within algo trading. I'm not sure how many people in India have risk management experience in algo trading, and they are based out of India. I know some people working in JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, or some few other, maybe HSBC and all. They're working in India, but I'm not sure how many of them will want to leave their stable job in those big banks to come and work for Revolut. And that's exactly the reason why I always tell to the fresh guys that if you're ignored by those big firms, try at the smaller firms, because the smaller firms don't have that kind of the traction to attract highly experienced people. So you will have better chance, right? All right. And then the usual stuff, right? We have already discussed strong content knowledge, right? In trading, but also in coding. They haven't really mentioned about your knowledge of programming. I'm a bit surprised, but they have mentioned that you will be part of the deployment team. So you'll be helping the deployment team deploying the algo strategy. So probably they won't expect you to write code, but you will be working, let's say, as a business analyst alongside the the techies to help them implement the models. Okay, but I quite assume that they will be asking coding questions in the interviews. All right. If you have experience, and that, by the way, this is nice to have. They don't expect you to have experience in these asset classes where they're going to be trading, but if you have, that's an advantage, whether it's in FX or whether it's crypto or on the commodity market. And if you have done any algo trading yourself, let me tell you that the retail algo trading is quite different from algo trading that happens at institutions. Okay, in fact, the institution guys sometimes don't give much importance to what you have done with your own money, right? So it's quite different. In fact, sometimes people prefer the ones who have never done any retail sort of algo trading, right? Because sometimes you have this bit of a bias, right? You come with bit of a baggage and you have to unlearn some of the things and then start learning algo trading in more formal way, in a structured way, and the way that institution expect you to learn, and not the way you do for yourself, for your own money, right? Sometimes you have to unlearn some of the stuffs, and that's why sometimes it's better not to even have experience. But if you have experience, write it down and don't try to be too flashy when it comes to pitching yourself. What I'm trying to say is that be humble in the interviews, because even though you may be knowing some of the stuffs from whatever you have learned on your own through books or through videos, through courses, but the real world is a bit different, and nobody expect, as a fresher, nobody expects you to be an expert. But if you're somebody who thinks that you are all-knowing guy, you have all the knowledge required, and you are not somebody who is willing to learn, I think they probably won't hire you. All right, so I just wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, and if you like these videos, let me know in the comment section. I will keep making this video more and more. And thanks guys. And if you are interested in my course, I do teach a lot of things related to risk management. To whatever I have discussed so far, a lot of the things are also in my course. If you're interested, let me know. Thanks guys.